Hello and welcome to the Run Testers. My name's Nick, and in this video I'm going to be going through my favourite running shoes available right now in 2025. We recently did our big roundup view of the best running shoes of the year, and for that video we basically all voted on our personal top shoes in a number of categories, then got those votes together and picked out a top 3 overall. But because we don't all get to test all the shoes and we all have some favourites that we feel particularly strongly about, we wanted to also do our own individual videos talking through our top 3 in each of the categories that we had in that video. So do go check out that video first. That is the de facto best running shoes we think are out there right now for the whole channel. But in this video I'm going to go through what I believe to be the best shoes in each category, which is pretty similar to what we had in the overall video, but there are some other options in there as well. So first, a bit about me as a runner, which obviously will feed into what the shoes are that I think are the best out there. I'm generally marathon training. That's what my preferred distance is. I like to run marathons. I've done a couple this year already, and I'm training for the Loch Ness Marathon right now. I did Seville in London earlier in the year. I tend to prefer lightweight, versatile shoes. I don't tend to go really into the max cushioned shoes so much. I have quite a high cadence style. I'm fairly lightweight. I don't really put too much impact through the shoes, I don't think. So I don't necessarily benefit from a massive wedge of cushioning. So I prefer slightly more nimbler shoes that kind of facilitate that high turnover. I have a pretty narrow foot as well, so there are certainly some picks coming up that are well suited for narrow feet and maybe not so much for wide feet. And when it comes to my training breakdown, I obviously do fairly structured training with a fair bit of easy and hard stuff, but with marathon training I tend to do a lot of fairly in-between stuff as well, like easy to steady runs, that kind of thing. So I do like daily trainers and cushion shoes that actually have a bit of versatility as well, so they feel a bit more comfortable moving through the gears and running at faster paces. So with that all in mind, let's have a look at my favourite shoes at the moment. So when it comes to the category of racing shoes, my top pick was the same as our top pick overall. It is the Puma Farstar Nitro Elite 3. But for me, this is kind of a joint top pick with the Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo to have a little bit of a cop out. At the time of the video, I was the only one who had tested the Sky Tokyo, and I'm still doing that testing right now, but it's a fantastic shoe. Asics Metaspeed Sky Paris had been my favourite racing shoe, but the Puma came out earlier this year and it's just incredible. It's really lightweight. It's got a really aggressive rock and ride that really facilitates a fast, efficient running style when you are on it, and then when I wasn't on it, like when I ran in the shoe at the London Marathon in the second half of that race, it still helped me keep going and run at decent pace and cling on in the second half of that race instead of having a proper mega blow up. So I have been a really big fan of that shoe. I've also used it for a 5-mile race where I set my 5-mile PB, lots of hard training sessions, and generally when I'm running in it, I'm nearly always running faster than I expect I am given my effort level. So I do think it lives up to its claim of being a really efficient and fast racing shoe, and it delivers really at every distance. So that's definitely a fantastic shoe. Then the Asics Metaspeed Sky Tokyo is even lighter than the Puma somehow. It's really lightweight, and I've tested all 3 of the new Metaspeed shoes, the Ray and the Edge, and the Sky is the one that does stand out for me still. It's got the poppiest ride of the forefoot. It's a little bit firmer and more stable than the Asics Metaspeed Ray, which is even lighter, but a bit too soft probably for me and my taste, especially as a heel striker. It's only got a forefoot plate, the Metaspeed Ray, and I think I get a more stable and propulsive feel off the full plate in the Metaspeed Sky Tokyo. It's an incredible shoe. I can't wait to put that to the test with full races and really try and nail down which I do prefer out of it in the Puma, but there's not a lot in it. The Asics is, I think, a little bit cheaper, so that might swing you towards that, but it's another fantastic shoe. And the new FF Leap foam that Asics is bringing into various shoes at the moment is really impressive. Like the full stack of it in the Metaspeed Ray might just be a little bit too soft, I think, maybe, especially without some kind of full stabilizing plate, but when used in conjunction with the FF Turbo Plus foam in the Metaspeed Sky and Edge Tokyo, you are getting a really fantastic bouncy and energetic ride that is still kind of controlled and stable enough thanks to the full plate and the layer of FF Turbo Plus foam. So they're my top 2. I'd say I'll give it to the Puma at the moment, as I have raced a marathon in that, which I haven't done in the Sky Tokyo as yet, but they're the top 2. And then my third pick, I disagreed with the others, and I had the Nike Alphafly 3 in there, which is becoming a little bit of a forgotten shoe because it was released a long time ago now, but it's an incredible racing shoe, and it's probably a bit undervalued now because it's not the most exciting new shoe on the block, but it really can do it all. It's obviously very good at the marathon distance where it's been used to set world records and that, but I've done multiple 20 milers in that shoe. I've run my fastest 10k in it on a slightly friendly course. I'm not sure if it's a proper 10k PB, but I've done loads of fast running in it, and it's always really impressed me. You've got that really bouncy ride from the Zoom X foam, a very fast turnover from the way the plate rolls you into those air zoom pods to give you that explosive toe off, and I do think it's still a fantastic shoe and one of the top options out there. It's a little bit heavier now than lots of the shoes on the market, especially the Puma and the Asics Metaspeed series right now, but I still think it's worth the wait because of the extra bounce you get there, and it's probably a little bit more comfortable than the Asics and the Puma over long distances. I think the Puma and the Asics are comfortable enough for a full marathon, but some might disagree, and the Alphafly certainly gives you a bit more cush. When it comes to daily trainers to use in a rotation, my top pick was very clear here. It's the Adidas Adizero Evo SL. This is probably my favourite shoe that I've tested throughout the whole of 2025 so far. I think I've done about 200k in it now, and it's just always really impressed me. I mean, in a rotation in particular, when you can reserve it for the type of runs it does best, which is those easy to steady progression runs I talked about, which I do quite a lot during my training, actual just track work and fast training sessions and tempo runs. It's really good for all of that. I also think it's got the capability to do everything else as well, including even racing and flat out easy runs. It's just a really lightweight shoe with a very energetic midsole foam, and it's just great to run in, especially, as I mentioned before, I've got the high cadence style of running, and having that lightweight shoe with that aggressive rocker just really works for me. It really turns over nicely and performs at the level of a plated training shoe, or not far off the level of a full carbon plate racing shoe at a really reasonable price as well. So I think it's a shoe that can fit into so many rotations. Like, even if you prefer more cushioned and stable shoes, you could look at the Adidas more as a pure speed shoe or even racing shoe, and some people could use it for everything, or slip it in the middle of a rotation where it performs best as that fast trainer, occasional racer maybe, and do it all option if you're going away or something like that. So yeah, I love the Adidas Evo SL. Probably be talking about it more in this video and other categories as well. And then probably my two joint runners up in the daily trainer category for me are the Hoka Mach 6 and the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. They're similar to the Adidas in that they are simple, lightweight shoes with a pretty good foam in the midsole, a decent setup in terms of their geometry. The Hoka is a bit more rockered than the Puma and probably a bit more stable as well, whereas the Puma I think has the better foam in the midsole and a bouncier feeling, and they're both just incredible shoes. The Mach 6 is a shoe I often take away as my only shoe if I'm traveling, and I can do a bit of everything in it because it is lightweight and rolls smoothly through onto your forefoot if you're running at fast paces, but it is pretty comfortable for long easy runs as well. Fairly stable for such a lightweight shoe. Foam isn't the best, but it works well enough for me all round. I really like that shoe. Velocity Nitro 4, a new release this year, it's really impressive for the price, especially here in the UK. You've got an aliphatic TPU midsole that delivers a lot of bounce, a lot of fun, a lot of comfort at the heel as well. Got an excellent outsole for daily training, and that's a shoe that can easily fit into a rotation as a cushion shoe for just crunching through easy miles with a great outsole, a nice design for those who prefer a more lightweight ride like myself, or it could even be your speed day shoe because it is lightweight and has a lot of pop. Mach 6 similar, probably more of a speed focused shoe than the Velocity, but really comfortable, great for easy miles as well. So yeah, three great shoes I think in this category, probably my favourite category overall because they're just versatile, simple shoes, pretty good prices, comfortable. Yeah, love them all. On to the cushion shoe category, which, as I mentioned, isn't my favourite category of shoes. So sometimes I have to try and think about what other people really prefer when I'm doing the voting in this category. But my overall top pick was the Brooks Glycerin Max, which I do think takes all the stuff that Brooks does really well, which is produce very reliable, consistent, durable, comfortable shoes, and puts it in a design that I think has a bit more excitement and liveliness to it than most of the Brooks cushioned range. You've got the lower drop than the classic Glycerin and Ghost shoes, a bit more of a rocker, that really nice DNA tuned foam, which isn't the most explosive or anything like that, but it is comfortable and it is pretty poppy. I've done some fairly fast stuff even in the Glycerin Max, and I do think if you are looking for that cushioned ride, you're going to get it in spades with the Glycerin Max. It provides so much comfort and support, but has a bit more about it than lots of cushion shoes. It is fairly expensive though, that is a bit of a downside to it, but yeah, a really good shoe. And then my runner-up would be the Asics Novablast 5, which is another shoe that works in lots of categories really. It's a really good cushion daily trainer, could easily be one of the top picks in the rotation section of this video as well, but I think for me it would just be a cushion shoe because I prefer slightly lighter shoes myself, and it is a very comfortable cushion shoe, nice rocker to it, really lightweight given the high amount of foam you have here, still nice and stable, just works really well as a shoe for crunching through your miles. And then my third pick, I'm going to not go what I actually voted for originally because I've been testing other shoes since then and I might as well keep this as up to date as possible. I'm going to put in the Puma Magnify Nitro 3, which is a little bit more cushioned than the Velocity Nitro 4, a little bit heavier, but has a great midsole foam, like a really nice springy Puma midsole foam that's soft and bouncy. And again, this is a pretty good value shoe, and I found it really just lively to run in, even at easy paces, just fun to run in, a bit like the Brooks is. It gives you a fair bit of bounce back. You can actually use it for faster runs as well. Really good outsole, as you expect from Puma shoes. So yeah, that would be another one I'd slip into my cushion shoes category that I think if we'd all had access to that shoe earlier, I think it probably would have been one that would have featured in our overall video, but I'm the only one who's tested it so far, and I think it's a great shoe, worth calling out. Then in the all-rounder section, my top pick is a shoe I think that is about to be updated, but I think it's going to be pretty similar and they're going to fix the one key issue with it. My top pick here is the Hoka Mach X2, which is a plated training shoe that is very fast and it is geared towards speed stuff, but I like using it for a bit of everything. That is because I'm the type of runner I am. Not everyone will view this as an all-rounder, I think, because it might be a bit too wobbly or unstable or something like that, but I loved running it. Like my first testing of the Mach X2 was when I took it away on holiday and just used it for everything really, and I found it stable and comfortable and easy runs, but so lively and fast when you up the pace. It's got a really nice rocker that pushes you onto the forefoot. The mixture of foams and plate in the midsole do give you explosive ride. It really is close to the performance of a full carbon racing shoe, I think, the Mach X2. And maybe the only real downside to it was the upper was a bit fiddly and not very comfortable, especially around the heel. I think that's what they've changed with the Hoka Mach X3, which is about to be released. I think reviews and previews are starting to pop up. We haven't got it yet, but if that's all they fixed and they haven't made it too much heavier, that would be a great shoe as well, and even better, I think. Because the Mach X2 is the kind of shoe you want to use a lot because it is so good for loads of different types of runs, so having an upper that's a bit more suitable for daily training will work really well. So I think that's, the best all-rounder on the market. It can handle so much in terms of speed and easy running, and certainly can stand in for a full carbon super shoe on race day as well. Then my runner-up here would be the Adidas Adizero Evo SL, making its second appearance in this video. I've talked about how it's so good for all kinds of runs, and I've used it for all kinds of different runs. It is a really good all-rounder, and even though it hasn't got a plate in it, it does have some kind of stiffness and stiffening agent in it, which does mean it works really well at fast speeds, but is quite a relaxed option for easy runs as well. Fair bit cheaper than a plated trainer like the Mach X2 as well, but certainly worth considering as an all-rounder. Then my third pick here would be the Saucony Endorphin Speed 5. Like, the Endorphin Speed line isn't getting any worse. Like, it's been amazing from the very first version of the shoe. I really loved using the Endorphin Speed 5. Again, I used it for everything, a flat-out park run, loads of hard training, very easy runs. I think it's a little bit more stable, actually, than the Mach X2 at the easy end of things, but isn't quite as comfortable and explosive at fast speeds because of the lower stack you have on the Endorphin Speed 5. But the rocker is very smooth and natural. The nylon plate works really well in stabilising the shoe and giving you a bit of pop. It is just, still the consummate all-rounder. The Endorphin Speed 4 is pretty much as good though, so you could go for that in a sale. But it isn't getting any worse, like I say, the Endorphin Speed 5. It's just, I think the shoes that are coming out around it since the original version have started to match the Endorphin Speed 5 and even actually surpass it in some cases. So that's another fantastic all-rounder though, for sure. Then lastly, we hit the best value category, which is always a tricky thing to judge. Like, we don't always test the very cheapest models out there on the market, so we can't comment too much on those. But what we're really talking about a value is shoes that perform above their price tag and will give you a level of performance that you might not expect for their price. So top of the list here for me is the Puma Velocity Nitro 4. It's particularly good value in the UK. In the US, it's more in line with our daily trainers, but it undercuts them here in the UK whilst outperforming most of those classic daily trainers. So if you think of that band of shoes, there's things like the Nike Pegasus, the Novablast, the Hoka Clifton, Brooks Ghost, Saucony Ride. The Velocity Nitro 4 comes in cheaper than all of those in the UK and is better than all of those, in my opinion. I think it's a lighter, more fun, enjoyable shoe to run in. Really good outsole, comfortable at the heel, enough snap through, but then doesn't bottom out under the forefoot, despite the fact it's not the most cushioned shoe. Just brilliant all-round shoe, and one that is great value as well. The Magnify Nitro 3 from Puma is another shoe I put in this category, just again because of the price in the UK at £130. Undercuts all the kind of top cushion shoes and brands ranges, things like the Nimbus, the Triumph. This is an area where the UK has seen some steep inflation, even steeper than the US, I think, and the Magnify hasn't been subject to that. And again, I think it outperforms lots of those shoes thanks to the excellent foam in its midsole. So that'll be another really good value option. And then we've got to talk about the Adidas Adizero Evo SL again, because I've named it the best shoe to put in a rotation, one of the best all-rounders in the market, and it's £130 or $150, and I think it's performing at the level of things that, like the Super Blast, which is 200 quid. Like, it's not quite the same shoe, it's a much smaller shoe, less cushion shoe, but in terms of its brilliance across a wide range of runs, it really is performing at a very high level, and it costs a lot less than lots of shoes on the market. So that'll be another one that I'd certainly put into my value section. So those are my favourite shoes of 2025. Rattled for you quite a lot of shoes there. Hopefully there's something of interest. If you've watched this far, please do like and subscribe, ring the little bell, and we'll see you next time.